Welcome back. This is take 3, and as Brooke said, the third time's a charm. I got this new iPhone. Apparently, there's not enough storage, and it is getting a little toasty out here. The fan is nice. But I am Billy with Coach Dooley's List, and this is our Beyond the List interview series with coaches. This one today is brought to you by All-American Specialties. If you need plaques, trophies, anything to celebrate your season, please get in touch with Scott McIntyre and his crew at All-American Specialties. Their information will be down at the bottom. And also, if you are enjoying these coaching videos, please like and subscribe to the YouTube page. But once again, for the third time, I am here. It is my pleasure to be here with Brooke Houlihan, the head softball coach at Apalachee. Thank you so much for still being here.
Of course.
So first off, Coach, just tell us all a little bit about your coaching journey and how you ended up at the Chief.
All right. So, like I've said, I guess I'm trying to remember what I've said. Okay, from a young age, I knew I always wanted to get into teaching. I didn't really know about the coaching aspect really until I was a junior in high school, and I had some knee injuries during basketball seasons there, and Coach Donnie Byram just said, all right, well then go coach. So I got to help the JV team, just learn the playbook. We had a new JV coach, Coach Thurston Howard, and I just really enjoyed getting to help people and, I like the puzzle pieces of sports really, of like trying to find the best fits. And so I was like, all right, maybe coaching is in my cards. I don't know. I went on and played softball at LaGrange College for 3 years, had an opportunity for my 4th year to be a graduate assistant for the softball program. And my head coach, Jennifer Claybrook, honestly told me, no, you have a different opportunity that you need to take. Like, softball will always be here. I'm like, all right. So did my graduate assistant position in the history department, actually. And then I started applying anywhere and everywhere within like a radius of LaGrange College because I was trying to get a job under a provisional. I had 3 offers, and I ended up going to Villa Rica because they offered for me to be the varsity assistant softball coach. I'm like, yep, sign me up. So I was there for 2 years with Cody Skinner, and then 2019 I got hired here as an assistant coach. Ralph Neely and Alan Bailey allowed me to come here and work at Apalachee, and then for the past 3 years, or I guess I'm going into my 3rd season as being the head coach here. So
I am going to check.
Yeah.
Want to make sure we're still rolling. Okay, so like I said, if you were seeing this here, then it works. If not, it'll be the first Zoom interview that we've done.
There we go.
In all your stops, and you've worked with some great people, and obviously even going back to high school, Coach Byram's phenomenal. Coach Howard, who's an AD now, and even Coach Bailey here, and Coach Skinner, who I think got out of being a head coach, but all good people. So what do you want? You've kind of formulated this over the years. What do you want your softball program to be known for here at Apalachee?
Yeah, so really and truly just wanting people to recognize and see like our girls as leaders on the field and off the field, just really being a bright light and joyous and, all the things, just positive vibes. It's really cool when you have teachers come up to you saying, I love having your player in my class. She does such a great job. Our players are the ones who are being recognized as Student Athlete of the Month at the school. We have like the senior being recognized by the Chamber of Commerce. So it's just really good things, just seeing our girls be a positive force, like on the field and always being positive, but also like outside the field, especially this past year. In September, our girls were halfway through our season and had to go through the unthinkable, and they just stepped up to the plate and were such a bright light for for me as a coach, for people at the school and really in our community. And it's really cool because people recognize that, and people would come up to me and just say, your girls are doing such a great job. Like, how are they? It's amazing. I mean, they would say it's amazing how well they've responded, because and that's just them. And I think that's the coolest thing, that to have people recognize that about our program. And so I think long term, being good students, being a good athlete, but really and truly just being a good human.
I love that. And shout out to the teachers who take the time to come tell you when
sure.
your kids do good. So we definitely want to know when they're not doing good so we can take care of it. But it helps to balance things out. And then, the Apalachee community is one that's always in our prayers. But also too, we always say, I think kids take on the persona of their coaches, especially if they look up to them. So them being hard workers, being good teammates, being good in the classroom, that speaks to their head coach, who was also a very hard worker, was a very good student, was always looking to take care, was always the last one at the field, all the things. So I absolutely love to hear that. So what's in your couple of years as a head coach and your several years as an assistant, what's one of your favorite coaching stories you like to tell?
All my trips to Columbus, from a player to a coach, have been amazing. Our group in 2022 here at Apalachee, we made it to the state championship game. Lost to Pope, but that entire ride was just so special. Like, we talk about it, like coaches talk to Kyle Bailey about it all the time, like how special that group was, and just coached some really special players. But I guess for me personally, I don't know what year it was. Whatever year I got engaged, it was like 2 weeks into the softball season, and it happened on a Monday night, and I was like so excited to tell the girls at practice the next day. I ended up not being able to go to practice, and so Wednesday comes along. We're playing Winder Barrow. It's the in-county rivalry game, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I have to tell people. I hadn't told anybody at school, hadn't told any of the coaches. I was like, the girls are going to be the first ones to know. And so we go to Winder, we're playing. It's like no runs have been scored. It's like, all right, we're going into the 6th inning. We're going into the 7th inning. Like, what are we doing here? Like, we cannot lose against Winder and then me tell this story, because then no one's going to be like, we don't care. We just lost. So right fielder has a game of her life, honestly. We end up winning by 1 run, I think. And so after the game, I went up to Coach Bailey, and I was like, I got to tell the girls something. He's like, okay, yeah, no problem. Go over to my bag, get the ring out, put it on, and Kyle's looking at me like, oh my gosh. I'm like, yeah, like, this is why I've been pacing back and forth in this dugout. Like, I can't hold on to this anymore. And so it's just really funny looking back, and getting to tell the girls was really special because they were so excited, and I still have that as my Twitter banner picture, I think, of like that night. So bonus was that Jessica Perchko was the assistant coach.
One of your teammates, yes.
My former teammate, and I was like walking off that field, and I was like, come here. She's like, no, because they just lost. And she was like, because the girls are going crazy in left field. I'm like, oh gosh. And she finally came up to me, and I was like, look, this is why they're going crazy. She's like, oh my gosh. I'm like, yeah, I know. So it's just funny. That whole story has a lot of like individuals in it that makes it a good story for me.
Well, you know this too. I mean, coaching is your family, and being able to share that with those kids, like, is just like calling your mom and dad, right then. But also too, the fact that you could keep it a secret for those couple days with social media and phones and everything else. So, now if one of these girls came to you, or even one of your current assistant coaches or anybody, and said, Coach Houlihan, I want to be a head coach one day, what's some advice you would give them?
So really 2 pieces that kind of flow together. So the first piece of advice I would give them is a piece of advice that was given to me by Alan Bailey when I became an assistant here. And he's like, always just take notes of like the coaches you're around. And so I feel like I've done that a lot subconsciously, because there's a lot of things I incorporate that we did in softball in high school, that we did with Coach Byram in basketball, what I did in college. And so just really absorbing all that you can from people around you. But then on the flip side of like, when you have that information and you might not feel ready to like step into that head coaching position, like just taking a leap of faith if it's something that you want to do. And I have a quote that I keep in my back pocket even since I started teaching of, every expert was once a beginner. And so just really knowing that when I took over, like, people weren't expecting me to be perfect. And I have to remember that I'm learning every day. And so for a new coach who's maybe apprehensive of the idea or maybe not ready, like, just really and truly embodying, like, you're going to get there. Like, people grow to the coach that they end up being. It's not a overnight process.
No, that's for sure. And I love that advice. And I was talking to another coach that, she said kind of the same thing. And it makes, me think about, somebody saw something in you. and whoever it was, Coach Neely or the principal or whoever made that final decision, they saw something sometimes that we don't see in ourselves to say, hey, you're ready. And we also know what kind of person you are and know that you're going to get there. So, no, and I love that. And that kind of leads us to the last question. And again, got my hat here, which I am very excited about. We'll get to where this came from. But, the big idea behind the website is trying to connect coaches with vendors, make their lives a little bit easier. So who are some vendors that you'd love to shout out to your fellow coaches?
So Pat from Shuma Sports, Damon Gobert was fantastic when I took over the program here. Came to me, helped me go through all the things, like this is what we've done in the past, here's what I can help you do. And then Mason Orr at Digital Creations for You in Winder. He's done all of our signage out here and has just done a really good job with that. And again, was one of the first people I talked to on the phone of like, I'm here to help you. What can I do? And then lastly, we've gotten stuff from Georgia Spiritwear in Winder, like kitty camp t-shirts and getting names put on back of jerseys for our senior gifts. And again, all of them are just super helpful, really good at communicating with open communication of like, yeah, we might not have that now, but I'll get it for you, or let me get back to you. And all the products that we've gotten have been awesome. So all three of those have been super. It's been a pleasure working with all three of them.
And that's what I love to hear. Shuma's on the website. The other two, I'm going to make sure I get their information from you so I can get them added. And Coach, I do appreciate it. I've said it twice already today, but I love watching you grow and watching your success, not just as a coach. You won Teacher of the Year. Big shout out for that. Coaches get a bad rep sometime in the classroom, but you have always been a great teacher. And, I love seeing the videos they put together for you and everything. It was really cool. I know Leslie is very, very excited about that. We get married, growing up, and again, we love it. I couldn't wish anybody any more continued luck, but you make your own luck, and I just love what you're doing. So congrats, and thank you for take 3. We're going to go check it and see.
Yes.
You go check it.
You want me to check it?
I can't go back there again. Yes.